And so I strongly believe in the youth programs. Also, we need to understand that many of our 7 areas of focus are based around youth programs and initiatives. When you think about literacy, maternal health care, polio eradication is actually a young person's disease, and we've eradicated that. And many of our other areas under our service initiatives, our areas of focus, are based around youth. I know that our clubs in Prince George specifically have a lot of youth-based projects and funding and things like breakfast programs. And even the Operation Red Nose has to spend its dollars on youth. And it's really, really important for us to understand that. I've had the pleasure of hosting 4 or 5 exchange students, and I've also had the pleasure of hosting 1 STEP student. And so I think that says a lot. And so my children are Rotarians. And as an alumnus, I got 1 who is in Rotary. So it says a lot about how if we make this work through the programs, through our initiatives, and we give them that wow factor of Rotary, they will become Rotarians. And that's one of the reasons why we do this. So without that, I'm going to turn it over to Linda Roca, who's going to tell you a lot about what the Youth Committee's been doing. And even though we have had a hiatus relative to Youth Exchange and face-to-face RYLAs, they've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on other programs and development and policies and procedures. So take it away, Linda.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And again, thank you very much for inviting Youth Committee back to the Year Ahead sessions and giving us an opportunity to tell you a little bit about our youth programs and some of the other things that we're doing under kind of the umbrella of the District Youth Committee. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Linda Rocha. I am a member of the Rotary Club of Squamish. I am also the District Youth Chair, and this is my going into my 3rd year. So the Youth Committee, for those of you that have clubs involved in any type of youth programs, be it district or club level, really the main purpose of our youth programs are to empower our upcoming young leaders. And that's really what we want to do. And it's everywhere from Interact all the way to Youth Exchange, everything in between. What we'd like to do is expose our youth to as many of our Rotary youth programs as possible. Now, to just give you a little bit of a history of where the Youth Committee started, we're going into our 5th year. What the Youth Committee is all about is we kind of bring together all of our district youth programs. So that involves Interact, RYLA, Youth Exchange, including short-term Youth Exchange and New Generation Service Exchange. And we all come together. We meet once a month. As a committee, we support each other's programs. We talk about long-range planning with youth programming and that type of stuff. So we have been working collectively for a number of years, and it's really great for us to kind of come together, get to know the other youth programs and see where we can support each other going throughout the year. So this is our youth committee going into 2021-22. I know that there's many of our committee on the Zoom call tonight, which is great. Thank you so much. So Val Little is our Interact District Chair. It's going to be Val's 2nd year as Interact Chair. This coming year, I'm going to be sharing the RYLA chair with James Fox. James has been part of RYLA South for numerous years, very capable young man, Rotarian, and I'm very excited to work with him, and he will be taking over the RYLA chair position next year. So for 2022-23, Youth Exchange, Gina Rawson. I'm sure most of you know Gina. She's very involved in Youth Exchange and has been for a number of years. She's going to be sharing the chair position with Bob Kilberry, who is out of Prince Rupert. And again, they're going to be working together. Bob's going to be taking over the year after. Our STEP program, which is a short-term exchange program, is Leon from Burns Lake, and New Generation Service Exchange. It's a fairly new program for our district, but we are still working on trying to get some applicants to go out on this exchange, which is really exciting. And Sylvie Barton works very closely with Gina to ensure that that is hopefully going to get underway next year. And we also have our compliance coordinator, and who is Ron Davis. And of course, he kind of oversees the CRC program for us. And we're really excited to bring on Lori, who's from Prince George. She's going to be our youth protection officer. She's just starting out. So we're just kind of going through some preliminary job responsibilities and that type of stuff with her. So you'll probably be hearing a lot from Lori in the coming year. And I think we might have a poll, if I can ask Kelly to pull it up for everyone to participate if you can, and it should be pretty quick.
Can you see it?
It's not on my screen, Kelly.
Okay,
Not
let's
on mine
try.
either.
Okay.
Linda,
Oh,
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just give everybody a few seconds to put in. And how many youth programs does your club participate in during a normal year? So just imagine it was pre-COVID. And if you can just put in between 1 and 3 youth programs, 4 and 6, or more than 6. And if you don't know, that's okay too. I'd like to know that as well. So we'll probably do another 30 seconds, give everybody an opportunity to answer, and then we'll see where we are. And were there any questions right now, Andrea, that I could answer for the next 15 seconds so far?
I don't see any questions.
Nope, perfect.
Yep.
Nope, that's great. We'll just give it these last couple of seconds and we'll end polling. There we go. So very excited that we have 4 clubs they're involved in more than 6 youth programs. That's beautiful. And between 1 and 3, 26, and 4 and 6, 21. That's great. That's absolutely wonderful. For those of you that don't know, please go back to your clubs and ask a question. What kind of programs are you doing with youth? And if you're not, let's get you doing some. That's great. Thank you. So we'll go on to the next slide. If you can just remove. There we go. So these are just a few ways that we can support you as a Rotarian and as a club from the youth committee. So like I said, we have the program chairs as part of our committee. We all have quite a diverse background in youth and different types of youth programming. So we're here to offer you guidance and support. Those are the main things. We're always available to answer any questions you may have, to present to your clubs on any of the youth programs. Usually if we do it, we always try to give you or the club a full view of all of the programs. But if you want us to highlight a certain one, we can also do that. We're going to be getting into a little bit more of the education part of it. And that has to do with a lot of the policies that we've put into place in the last year, and just ensuring that all of the clubs are aware of them, understand them, and if there are any questions, ensuring that we're able to answer those for you and your clubs. And we're going to start with Interact. Interact, of course, is a Rotary-sponsored service club for young people between the ages of 12 and 18. Interact clubs normally are school-based, but there are also community-based Interact clubs, and we do have a few in our district. If you just think of your Rotary club, it's kind of the same thing, but you put it in a school setting. And so the young people meet once a week on location, of course, at their schools. And they get together and they come up with local and international projects. Of course, the highlight is meeting new friends, developing leadership skills, which is very important, and just making sure that they all have a role to play within their Interact Club. We have at present 32 Interact clubs sponsored by 30 Rotary clubs, and Interact is growing quite significantly in our district, which is really great to see. We're not too sure exactly of the number of students that we have. We're really not keeping too much on top of that or putting as much importance on the numbers this year just because of COVID. There are some clubs that are still running fully within their schools. Some others that are possibly meeting quite a bit less. A number of clubs that have fewer members just because depending on where their school district is, they may not be able to meet as regularly as they had pre-COVID. So the numbers are, of course, fluctuating throughout this year. Hopefully when things get back to normal come September in the new school year, we'll be able to gauge a better number for total interactors in our district. They do host an Interact conference, which just happened a few weeks ago, and that is open to all interactors in our district. Of course, this year it was done via Zoom, and they had some amazing speakers, some breakout sessions where they could talk about different issues and stuff like that. So it was really exciting that they were able to bring together the Interact conference again. And of course, it's put together mostly by interactors themselves with some support from the Interact committee. So it's really great to see the kids come together and do that. And they also have a new website, which is wonderful. You can check them out if you go into our Club Runner site, District 5040, and just go under Youth and on Interact, and it'll take you right to their website. So please check it out. And there is their website address at the bottom of your page. And I think we have our second poll. And I'll just wait for Kelly to bring it up. Here we go. Really quickly, my Rotary Club sponsors an Interact Club. Yes, no, or would you like to if you don't? And give it a few more seconds. That's pretty well everybody. Let's give it to 30. Here we go. Amazing. Okay. So 74% of the clubs on the call tonight anyways are hosting or sponsoring an Interact Club, and that's amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. We're really excited when Rotary clubs want to take on an Interact Club. There's just so much value to it, not only to the interactors themselves, but to the Rotarians of that sponsoring club. So thank you so much for doing that. Okay, I think I went backwards. So here we go. RYLA, quite close to my heart. RYLA, of course, stands for Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. It really, RYLA is Rotary's their main leadership training and personal development program for young people. We have had 3 RYLA programs for different age groups within our district for a number of years. Of course, we have RYLA Lake Ells, which is for 14 and 15-year-olds up in Terrace in northern BC, RYLA South on the Sunshine Coast, and that's for ages 16 to 18, and then RYLA North up in Prince George for 19 plus. This year, because of course last year with COVID, all of our youth programs were canceled, of course. Going into this year, we knew that we weren't able to meet face-to-face in the same way that we have before with our camps, our RILA camps. So, I mean, it was wonderful that the staff all came together and said, you know what, we'll be able to do this virtually, and let's try to put something together. So we do have RILA South, which is Virtual Leadership Forum, and they had their first session on May 1st, and it went quite well. They have close to 70 participants. And thank you to those clubs that have sponsored young people to go to that program. So they have another 2 sessions on the 8th and the 15th. Please, if you have sponsored some youth to go to that program, make sure you invite them back to your clubs to report on their experience, because that's really a very important part of the whole program. And then RILA North, they're going to also have a virtual leadership forum. It'll be May 29th and 30th through Zoom, of course, and they have some amazing speakers already lined up. And that, of course, is for ages 19 plus. And information is just coming out for RILA North. So please try to find some young people within your communities and get them signed up to go. If everything goes as planned, we are hoping to have face-to-face RILA programs for next year, for 2022. I didn't put any dates on the slide just because we're unsure what it's going to look like for next year. But as long as we continue down the path that we're going, we do hope to have the camps fully functional for next year. Oh, and that is our website address at the bottom, and you can check us out there as well. And Youth Exchange, another amazing program under Rotary. And I'm sure most of you know about our Youth Exchange program. The long-term program, of course, is for the full year. Our outbound students leave in the late summer, and then our inbounds arrive about the same time, and they're in our district for a full year. They attend school. Plus they attend a lot of Rotary programs, of course. They also attend weekly Rotary meetings and other school programs. So they really become integrated into their families, their host families here in our district. Again, the program has been canceled now since last year. But they are putting together, or in the process of putting together, a pilot program, which is a virtual youth exchange program for the fall. It is very specific. They're just in the planning stages, but I do believe that they have their participating clubs already set. And so hopefully we'll hear a little bit more about that program as we go through. And again, we are hoping for 2022 that we will be able to bring back the full youth exchange program again. Short-term exchange, really simply, it is a direct exchange between 2 students during the summer. So as an example, our student from our district would travel to another Rotary district, stay with a family there, and then the son or daughter of that family would travel back to our district for the next month. And it's just a direct exchange between 2 young people. It is the family's responsibility to cover the cost of the travel. And of course, when the visiting student is here, they normally take them and tour around the district and that type of stuff. So it's a great program. It has been very active in our district, and it can always be more active, of course. So we will not have a program this year. And we are hoping in 2022 that it'll be kicked off again. And new generation service exchange. So of course, this is a new one for us. It is a short-term customizable program for university students or young professionals up to the age of 30. Participants themselves can design their own exchange, and it would combine their professional goals with some type of humanitarian project. So the benefits, as the slide mentions, make connections with service-minded community leaders in another country, learn another language, build their professional skills, gain international experience, and of course have an opportunity to travel and explore new cultures. It is an absolutely great program. It is geared specifically for the applicants, so it could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months. So it is a great program. If anyone wants any more information, we can definitely provide that for you. And again, no program for this year, but we're hoping 2022 we'll be able to bring it back. Oop. And so the things I've just spoken about were all the fun things. So policy for most people is not very fun, but for our youth programs, it is very, very important, and we take it very seriously. So for the last number of years, we've been implementing different policies within our district whose sole purpose really is to protect our youth and protect Rotarians, volunteers, and their clubs. So these are some of the things that we have put into place. They are all available on the District 5040 website under youth. So you go on there, you're able to download them, read them on your computer, however you want to utilize the information. But these are some of the things that we have on there. So our youth protection policy, youth waiver, standards and guidelines for electronic communication and virtual activities. Both of these are new, and they really came about because of COVID and how mostly interactors were having to find different ways to meet online. So these are just guidelines and standards to protect them while they are online doing different virtual activities and programs. We're just finalizing a youth and volunteer code of conduct, something that our district has not had before, but many districts do for their youth programs. So right now they are both before the board of directors for approval. So hopefully those will go through. Like I said, all of it is available on the district website. I'm not going to get into each one because we would be here for another hour or so for sure. But I think we have one poll, Kelly, if I'm not mistaken. And this one is going to be very interesting for me because I need to get some information from everybody. So I'd like to know if your club has read, signed, and returned the standards for electronic communication and virtual activities document. Oh, it's interesting seeing those blue lines go back and forth. I think that might be it. We can probably end polling. Thank you. So what I did want to say about this, and one of the reasons that I asked this specific question is because, and I understand that especially presidents and president-elects receive a lot of information, Rotary information on a regular, ongoing basis. We try to be very selective in how we provide information to you, how often we do it. So you're not inundated with youth information and communication. But sometimes there's really important stuff that we send out. This is one of the important things. So the standards were meant for you and your clubs to go through, especially anybody that's involved in any type of youth programs, your board of directors, read through them, give them a quick signature and send them back to me. And it's just a way so we kind of know that you've read through them, you kind of understand them, and you just kind of check off that box and say, yes, we did our thing. So you'll probably hear a little bit more about it. I do have a list of the clubs that have returned theirs and those that haven't. So I'll probably be talking to some of you in the next little while. Okay, so really quickly, what were we up to during COVID? Because we didn't have any youth programs other than Interact, of course. So Interact, the committee continued to support clubs that were active, of course. RYLA, we put together our virtual leadership forums for ages 14 to 30. Youth Exchange, their committee was kept very busy working on updating their policy and procedures, and they developed a crisis management plan, which was no small feat. We developed policy to address virtual and online communication, which I spoke about. We developed a new youth waiver for our committee. We continued our monthly meetings, which were quite full for not having any programs going on. And of course, we are providing support to mentorship and the alumni committees and everything that they're doing with youth. We have put together, and hopefully it'll have a bit of a kickoff on July 1st, a youth protection training module. And this is going to kind of become the standard for clubs who want to participate in youth programs. Your members will have to be taking some type of youth protection training. So that will be coming up. And we review our strategic plan every year. And so we have done that, and we will, I believe it's next spring, we'll be doing our 5-year review. So we have been,
Linda,
yep.
before you move on, we do have one question in the chat box, and we also have 2 of our people with their hands up.
Okay.
So Bill has his hand up and Andrea has hers, but I'll quickly read the question in the chat box. Is there a waiver for the Rotaract clubs to sign?
So the waiver that we have are for underage youth. So that's for 18 and under. So I'm not exactly sure what they mean by Rotaract waiver. I don't think they'd have to sign one.
The one that you mentioned, like the electronic one that you sent out.
Oh, the standards. The standards, yes. So that information was all sent to Rotaract as well. So if you didn't receive it, just let me know, and I can send it to you, whoever that was, and whatever Rotaract club you're with. Not a problem.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, Bill Hellyer.
Yes, Linda. It's good that you've got the mention of COVID up on the screen now. And I was thinking about the in 2022 when we could possibly be seeing Youth Exchange and things like RYLAs returning to their normal circumstance. I'm wondering if there is consideration or any discussion going around a requirement for attendees to have had a COVID vaccination. We could have people traveling around the world and across the province, of course. So it's just
yeah, no, that's an absolutely great question, Bill. Thank you so much for asking. I know that Gina, our Youth Exchange chair, is on the line if she wants to come on and just add a short note for Youth Exchange. For all of our other programs, no, we have not had that conversation yet, but we will be having that conversation as we move forward. I think it's a little early in the game right now. But Youth Exchange, of course, because they plan so much in advance. Gina, if you're on, are you able to give us like a 15-second little answer to that question?
I was privileged to be part of a conversation with senior RI leadership members, Holger Knack and number of the the RI youth staff, and the question of vaccinations came up, and we were told that Rotary will not make a mandatory vaccination policy. They will encourage it, but it is a decision to be made by individual clubs, districts, etc., and it will have to be in line with the legislation and the rules of the countries or the districts that people are in. So some countries will make it mandatory because it will be a government decision. Others may choose not to.
Great, thank you, Gina. So there's your answer, but definitely more discussion on that will be coming up. And was it Andrea that had, did you have a question as well, Andrea?
Yeah, no, it's good now, Linda. I just wanted to make you aware that there was a question in the chat, so it's all good.
Okay.
There's also a good question that Bill asked as well. So
yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, and just kind of oh, did we have another poll? No, not yet. So what's new for 2021-22? We continue to accept the science standards documents. It's not too late to send them in. So if you have not, you'll be hearing from me. We are putting together a protocol for recording CRC compliance. So moving into the new year with DG Lorne, and we're really putting a lot of importance and weight on CRC compliance. It's kind of been pushed to the side for a little while, and we need to kind of bring it up to the forefront again. So you will be hearing, as a club, your president-elects will be hearing quite a bit about CRC compliance coming up in the new year. We're just working on some terms of reference for our committee. We are trying to set up training for some of our newer members coming into our committee. We all do individual training for our individual committees, but as a whole as well, we brought on a few new people. So we will be doing that. We have some possible committee positions coming up within our committee. If any of you are interested in joining us at a district level, please let me know. We would always be more than happy to have new members as part of our youth committee. But if you're interested in a specific program like Interact or RILA Youth Exchange, there's always opportunities there too, and we can make sure we connect you with the right people. And part of that too, I mentioned Interact in the North. We're really trying to grow the program in the North. We have some clubs in the northern area, but I think there's a lot of potential there. So if anybody is from any of the northern clubs and want to become involved or to learn a little bit more about Interact, please contact Val, and we can get some sort of relationships happening there. And as I mentioned before, our strategic plan next spring, we'll be doing a kind of a new one. It'll be our 5th year, which is really exciting. It doesn't seem like it's only been 5 years. We've done quite a bit of work, but we're really looking forward to another 5 altogether. And I think the last poll, let's see if we can bring it up.
We can. There we go. Launch poll.
Oh, I would like to participate on the district youth committee or in one of the program committees. Let's see what we get. Youth programs are like the most exciting programs to be part of. We always have such a wonderful time, and just participating with youth, it takes off a good 20 years off your life for sure. There are so many amazing young people. So yeah, so interesting. We'll give it another few seconds.
Linda, there's no answer for I already do.
Oh, you're maybe that's everybody else. Yeah,
that's
right.
everybody else. Right?
That's awesome. We're more than happy to provide anybody with information on how to be involved with our group in any aspect. We're always looking looking for volunteers and more people to work with us and give us some different input and give us different ideas and that type of stuff. So yeah,
Looks
so
like
thank you
have
so much.
over a dozen.
So
Well, thank you, Linda.
I'm going to leave it at that. There is so much more information, but I know that we're on a time schedule. I did want to leave a little bit of time for some questions if anybody has them. If you do go onto the district club runner site under youth, we are all listed there with contact information. Please feel free to give us a call, give me a phone call or an email. And if I don't know the answer to your question, I'll make sure that we're able to find it for you. And I'd like to just thank all of the clubs that participate in youth programs. Please continue to support us as we move forward into the new Rotary year and especially into 2022 when we'll be bringing on hopefully a majority of our youth programs back. Thank you so much.
Linda,
Yeah,
if
Linda,
you,
I just wanted to echo one thing. So one is on the compliance side and the policy side, and you did mention that they have the support of the DGE. And the reason is these youth committees in RILA and Rotaract, RILA and Youth Exchange are part of the district, as the district takes the responsibility. And they can be subject to an audit. And so we can't take this lightly. So we're going to be coming around to the clubs, and if you're not getting your CRC done, you're going to have to write off. You're going to have to send in some type of an MOU or something saying that you have this under control, because the risk is way too high, and there's zero tolerance in the world right now. So I just want to let you guys know that if you're going to hear that ramping up, it's because it has to be, and it's critical.
Can I just add something really quick to that, Lauren, too? I did want to mention, so because of COVID, we're running into a little bit of a hurdle with volunteers that have gone in to get their CRCs and they receive a letter to go in and get fingerprints. It does happen. I actually received my letter a few weeks ago. And what we're finding is that some RCMP stations are not doing fingerprinting right now. So that is happening. Please let us know if you received that letter. Let Ron know up in Prince George so that we can just kind of keep on top of that. And when things start to ease off a little bit and we're able to go back into our local detachments and get fingerprints, then we'll kind of ensure that that gets done in a timely manner. So that is happening. Don't worry too much about it, but please let us know.
Linda,
There's a couple questions. Yeah.
Linda, if you stop sharing your screen, we'll be able to see everyone. And we do have a couple of questions in the chat, as well as Peter had his hand up. So Kathy's got a message in the chat saying, I would like to be involved with the younger kids in Early Act. Are there many of those clubs running?
Okay, so Early Act is not a recognized program under Rotary International. So it actually started in the States. The Early Act logo as it is right now is a copyright of a club in the United States. There aren't really any defined there isn't a defined program for Early Act. So what our district has decided is that if a club wants to sponsor an Early Act club within their community, they're more than welcome to do so. It will be club sponsored. So it will not be a district sponsored program like Interact. So for those that don't know, Early Act is for the elementary school age. They meet sometimes once a month, sometimes once every 2 weeks, depending on how they do it. We do have one in Powell River, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of where things are at with Early Act. That may change if things change at a Rotary International level. That will definitely change for us because we see the value of that type of program within our elementary school setting. But right now, that's kind of where it stands.
And Val has also made a comment that Interact is starting an e-club in September and to please contact her as the District Interact Chair. Peter, did you want to ask a question? You had your hand up.
I had it up regarding the CRC. I've had a valid CRC renewed many, many times for about 15 years. My challenge is I'm one of those people that has to be fingerprinted.
Yeah.
And currently, while my CRC is good for 2 more of the 4 years, Rotary requires it be valid within. It was done for both of emergency services and block watch, not for Rotary, and Richmond shut the RCMP fingerprinting down. So I'll just wait until the next time they open up again.
Yep, that's completely fine. Thanks, Peter.
I see that Mark also has his hand up to ask a question.
Yeah, I was just wondering with regards to the CRC application, is there anything else? I know we also, in our church, we have like Plan to Protect, which gives volunteers some training, like things like not being in a room, you know, by oneself, and just to those kind of guidelines just to protect the workers with kids. Is there anything that Rotary has that's like that, just to give people information so they're not being, you know, they're being protected from anything that might happen or accusations down the road?
Yeah, so I think it's important for all clubs to go through our youth protection policy. So it does have quite a bit of information in there.
Okay.
Rotary International has a lot of information. Our standards document, our guideline document also has information on there. I know that Lori, our youth protection officer, will probably be coming up with more training and education in that area. So you could look forward to some more. It's fairly new for us, to tell you the truth, which is kind of a sad thing to say, because our district has been so heavily involved in youth programs for so many years that we've kind of fallen behind on the youth protection part of it. So we are working towards that end, where we have a really good protection policy or protection plan for all of our youth programs. So that's kind of what we're working towards.
And is that on that policy website under youth?
Yes, if you go in there, everything should be there. If you
Okay.
find that you need more information, or if there's something missing, please give me a call, send me an email, and we can chat about it. And I've had this conversation with a few Rotarians where, you know, they mention, oh, you should have this and you should have that, and we're always eager to learn that as well, because it's such a vast area to cover.
And
So
Linda, the programs are on the e-learning center.
yes,
Rotary.
and there's lots
You
on
can take
e-learning.
those
Yeah.
programs. What Linda talked about earlier was that they've now put it on the district website because the volunteers can't access My Rotary. And so that's available as well. So there's lots of things. In fact, we'll probably put on a formalized training session as we get more clear on this. But I know there's questions. I know Nancy Asvik asked a question around the committee's responsibility. And we have a committee of 1 on the CRCs. Ron does a remarkably good job, but you can't rely on one person. We have to get out and get the clubs to stand behind their youth protection officers. We want a youth protection officer in every club that has a youth program. They need to sign off that they're following through the CRC stuff. We can't manage this in a room. This has to be done vigilantly by the clubs and down through to the district. So you're going to have to we're going to develop something where you have to sign off saying that you have done the proper checks. I've seen the CRC completion rates. There's highest is probably around 65%, whereas low is 10%. So there's lots of room for improvement.
Yeah. And really Ron's responsibility, as his job description is written right now, is just to record the information. He's not a watchdog. That's not his responsibility. It really is the club's responsibility to ensure that their members are compliant. It's as simple as that. It really is. So, and like Lauren said, we're putting a lot of importance on this issue, and you'll see much more on it in the coming months for sure.
Linda, Bill also wants to mention that the various youth adventure programs that are individual club sponsored, Yellowhead has the healthcare and forestry and environment, and those ones are important to take note of as well.
Yes. So because we're a district youth committee, so we deal mostly with our district youth programs, but there are Of course, our adventures in programs, Tweedsmuir Trek, which are very successful programs within our district, they are all club sponsored. And clubs, it is the club's responsibility to ensure that they have all of the youth protection in place and all of that type of stuff as well. And again, we're here to support them. And if they ever need any information on any of the policies and stuff, that's kind of what we're here to do. So please, yes, check out their adventures programs. I'll just give a bit of a shout out to Adventures in Healthcare, Prince George. I mean, they put on a virtual program. They had more than 400 youth applications from throughout the province. They're just going through the program now. And so I'm really waiting to see, very excited to see what the results are with that, but it's been absolutely amazing. So great, great program.
One last question, Sarah, did you have a question? Yep.
Not a question, but I was just going to ask if we could move questions to the end because some of the Rotaractors have other commitments tonight.
Sure.
So
Okay. Thank you. You're right. So we're going to move on to Rotaract.
Thank
Good
you.
point.
No problem. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yes, thank you very much, Linda. And I also wanted, I know Val, if we let her go, she'd talk to Interact for an hour or two too, but I keep hearing her stories and I just puts a smile on my face. So next we have Rotaract, and we're going to break this up because they're no longer a youth committee organization. This is a standalone committee. They do remarkably good work. It's one of my favorite committee meetings every month. And I got to tell you, the creativity, the ingenuity, the work they do behind it, the adaptability to computers and technology and Zoom sessions, and the things that they tell me, we can learn a lot from them. And so if you haven't included your Rotaract clubs into your clubs and vice versa, you're missing out on something, trust me. So with that, the theme, I think this year in the budget, if you're reading the budget, of course, I'm encouraging to read the budget, is Elevate Rotaract. And I'm going to turn this over to who's going off first. Sarah, Thomas.
I'll start us off. Thank you, Lauren. Hi,
Thomas.
everyone. Thank you very much for being here tonight. My name is Thomas. I'm the District Rotaract Chair. We've got a real treat for you tonight because it's not just me. You're going to hear from 3 Rotaractors aside from myself, 2 current DRRs, Josh Juni and Sarah Cornder, as well as Ariel Chi, who is one half of the incoming DRR team alongside Arish Fatima. I'm happy to hand this off right away to Ariel because I know she's got to get out of here. Ariel, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. So hi, everyone. My name is Ariel, and I am the incoming co-DRR for our district, and I am just presenting on behalf of Arish and I. So I think we're new faces, so I'm just going to do a bit of introduction on ourselves. So Arish and I are both from the UBC Rotaract Club, and I served as president while Arish served as vice president this year. And despite the challenges of COVID, we were extremely motivated by the passion and hard work that we saw in our club members this year. And we have grown various ways through the leadership opportunities within the UBC Rotaract Club. And at the end of this Rotary year, we both looked for ways to continue serving the Rotaract and Rotary community, and stepping up as DRR seemed like a natural next step. And Arish and I have had multiple conversations regarding the work we want to do within our district next year, and we're really looking forward to sharing them with you all. So broadly, we hope to work with 3 core principles in mind. The first is to continue fostering and putting in action new project ideas. The second is to continue building support and community within our district. And lastly, we just hope to enhance collaboration within Rotaract clubs, between Rotaract clubs, and with Interact and Rotary communities. And as you can imagine, these 3 pillars are closely connected and interrelated, and we believe that together it would facilitate a supportive and successful community. So first, I wanted to touch upon the first pillar of fostering and putting in action novel project ideas. At the district level, Arish and I are interested in pursuing several events. One of our ideas is to host a joint service project across the Rotaract community. For example, we could have an environmental initiative where each club in our district cleans a beach within a certain time period. And I believe that our united efforts could have a greater impact on our local environment than one club cleaning one beach alone. And again, this is just an example. And another idea that we have is for all the clubs to host their own respective fundraisers within a certain month, but we all donate towards a common cause. And these are both just examples of a simple structure for joint events that we believe offers flexibility for each club, but at the same time helps them feel like they're part of an even bigger cause and community. And another idea we have is to build a project database as a resource for clubs within our district. So when we first transitioned online last year, we heard from clubs who are looking for good project ideas to pursue, especially given the changing format of events with COVID. And over the course of this year, we have seen some amazing initiatives done by our clubs, ranging from social media campaigns to hands-on service projects in the community that respect COVID restrictions. And so we really wanted to document these amazing ideas and project ideas so that future clubs can always have a resource to refer to for both in-person and virtual projects. And we also believe that this will serve as a record for all of the amazing work our district Rotaract clubs have done up until now and in the future. And moving on to the second pillar that we hope to tackle, we would like to continue to build a sense of community and support within our district. And I know for a fact that Rotary has always given me a sense of community wherever I went. When I was in high school, I was in Interact Club for 3 years. And this club brought me a lot of friendships and connections that I never would have encountered as a high school student. And same at UBC, the Rotaract Club there in our district has given me a strong sense of community and belonging in my university journey. And so this has been a really meaningful part of my university life. And so as co-DRR next year, we really hope to bring the same sense of community to the members of our district. And to achieve this, we aim to host routine socials for our district members to provide opportunities for building friendships and connections. As well, we hope that our Region I, along with the district committee, can provide personalized and tailored support to all the clubs within our district by getting to know what they're doing well on and what they would like support on, for example, strategic planning and so on. And lastly, our Region I are interested in building a scholarship or grant program for Rotaract clubs within our district to provide additional support for Rotaractors. And the idea is still in its early stages, but we're actually considering the specific scope and the details of this program. And we would love to share more in the future with you guys. And last but not least, we hope to facilitate and foster increased collaboration and improved communication between Rotaract clubs and with Interact and Rotary clubs. So speaking from the UBC Rotaract Club perspective, we have really benefited from communicating, collaborating, and learning from various Interact clubs and our sponsor Rotary Club. And our goal as co-DRR next year is to help bridge club to club, because we really believe that it helps to maximize our impact and reach. And we're really keen to facilitate connections between Rotaract and sponsor Rotary clubs as well, because we believe that there's a lot of value, mentorship, and learning that can stem from this connection. And with that, I just want to say thank you for having us here today. And our region are really excited to represent and support the Rotaract clubs within our district in the coming year. Thank you. And I'll pass it on to Thomas.
Awesome. Thank you, Ariel. Ariel and Arij are going to kick a lot of ass this next year. They're amazing. They're my idols. They rock Rotaract. So thank you for being here tonight, Ariel. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you for stepping up and being DRR. That's amazing. So next I'll talk briefly about some of the new and restarted Rotaract clubs in our district. Over the past 12 to 18 months, our district has restarted a couple clubs and started 2 brand new ones. So first, a restarted club. It was rather difficult to get back on its feet. The North Shore Rotaract Club. We had to reach out to basically everyone that had been a part of that club in the past and recruit people to come out. It took some searching, but once we found the right person, everything fell into place. Sandrine took the reins as club president and ran with it. And this club has become a group of very close friends. Although it's still very small and they've struggled to recruit people over the past year, they have persevered through the pandemic. And now the challenge becomes bringing new people in, especially as the world goes back to normal. One way they have remained able to survive this, I think, is by partnering with other local Rotaract clubs. Because they are small, it can be difficult to have to constantly organize everything themselves. So joining up with other clubs for various socials or fundraisers or events keeps them active. So and this summer, I'm happy to see that they're joining forces with my club, the Vancouver Young Professionals Club. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Second club that restarted thanks to the efforts of several local Rotary clubs in the Sea to Sky area. It seems like it took a bit of fair time. It seems like they've been working on this for a long time, and they just need to find, again, the right people to spearhead it. So 2 Rotaractors in particular have been spearheading that project with the very powerful support of many local Rotaract clubs in the area. And they're still in the early stages, but I'm happy to see them, participating in district meetings and learning from other more experienced Rotaractors in the district, the types of things that they can do with their club. And there's also 2 new clubs that have started in the district, and both very unique in their own way. The first was the brainchild of a Rotarian who wanted to start a first Rotaract club without a sponsor. So they don't have a Rotary sponsor. They believe it might be the first of its kind in the world, maybe. He had, as some of you may know, this was a recent change at Rotary International where clubs can start without a sponsor. I think they were one of the first to get it through. So he had a number of coworkers where he worked who were interested in the idea of Rotary, but for whom Rotaract was more realistic at this point in their lives. So these coworkers got together and started the Regal Rotaract Club, and they're spearheading right now a district-wide mentorship program to bring Rotary and Rotaract closer together. I'm really interested to watch this mentorship program grow. They're doing great things with it already, and I'm seeing lots of people get involved through it. So thank you to the Regal Rotaract Club for getting that started. They're doing amazing things already in their first year. Second club is the 604 Rotaract Club, and they've been trying to start for a while now, but I think had some trouble getting commitment from enough people. It seems like they finally hit critical mass. This club, I think, started as an outcrop of the Mountain View Rotary Club. And I got the impression that it was largely family of Rotarians, but has grown beyond that. And maybe the interest level wasn't high enough. Maybe their interest level wasn't high enough among that initial group, but it seems like it's grown at least to a point where it can be a stable club. And they are doing some things in the community. They've had some success with a bag lunch program for the homeless in our community. I'm proud to see them getting involved at the district level as well. They're going to do great things. So it's 604 Rotaract. So that takes our total clubs in the district to 11, as Lauren mentioned in the chat. That's amazing. That's the most in all of Pacific Northwest PES. That's really cool to see. There's a lot of really great clubs in Pacific Northwest PES as well, like 50/50 just out in Surrey and the Fraser Valley. They have some amazing clubs out there, and we hope to partner with them in the future as well. Our clubs have had a difficult year, but they've done well with the circumstances, and I'm proud of how they handled it. They're well positioned to move forward, I think. And I'm going to hand it over to my good friend Josh, co-district Rotaract representative. Sorry, I didn't spell out the acronym at first. Co-district Rotaract representative Josh, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good friends. We're best friends. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having us. So again, as Thomas mentioned, I'm co-DRR with Sarah as well here for the 2020-2021 year. Now, I've been given the task to talk a little bit about the Rotaract challenges and the adversity that we faced throughout the year, and also a little bit about how we got through that. So, of course, with the pandemic, clubs this year had faced many challenges this Rotaract year. The first one kind of came with volunteer opportunities. So as many of you know, the obvious challenge for Rotaract clubs was the lack of volunteer opportunities this year, throughout the year. So clubs very much differ from one another, but a large portion of all clubs' activities are related to volunteering. This is because, for one, clubs don't necessarily have all the financial resources to make large donations or the manpower to carry out too many fundraising events. So they turn to volunteer events to help give their time instead. And many club members also primarily are interested in getting involved in Rotaract because of the structure and the opportunity to volunteer. So of course that was a hindrance that we felt throughout the year. So COVID restrictions were also constantly in flux. Fundraising organizations, volunteer nonprofit organizations weren't sure exactly how they were able to run. So a lot of clubs struggled with finding consistent volunteer opportunities, but many organizations also turned them away or canceled in-person volunteer opportunities for the time being. And of course, another factor is, of course, many Rotaractors live with, family members that are vulnerable, so they opted out from these volunteer opportunities when they had to. Another issue or challenge that Rotaract faced was retention. So firstly, Zoom fatigue is real. It has played a factor with all our clubs, of course. So it's very difficult, of course, to have Rotaractors who are mostly made up of students or young professionals have 8 hours of Zoom calls or for work or something throughout the day, and then asking them to hop on another 1 hour Zoom call is a little bit difficult at times. So Rotaract engagement and retention also struggled because of the lack of social interaction, the lack of volunteer opportunities, ultimately leading to a lack of motivation. We know that a couple of the key reasons people join Rotaract, as mentioned, is to volunteer and to join that network of friends or that community. And without this, it became, very easy for Rotaractors, especially maybe members that were not as entwined within their clubs at that point yet, to have the same feeling, to have a feeling of belonging within that group. So this leads also to, of course, when some members are not as involved and some stepping back in their involvement, puts club leaders in a situation where they're going to get burnt out. And that was especially true with smaller clubs that were teetering around the 5 to 10 member range, where it ended up being the work of 2 to 3 members instead. So talking to a few club presidents as well, it seemed like a common theme that they were feeling was tired, trying to get and organize events while also trying to keep their individual members engaged, which I think is a common probably theme with Rotary as well. And of course, a challenge for Rotaract, probably the biggest one was like Rotaractor growth for many of our clubs. I know that we have a mandate and we are encouraged to and driven to grow Rotaract within our district. So we do have some challenges, but as Thomas mentioned, it wasn't all bad. So since we did, gain some new clubs throughout the year and going into 2020, 2019. But a common theme found from clubs is it's tough to invite new members to meetings where there's not much going on. So kind of an initiative within many of our Rotaract clubs is not to invite somebody to a meeting right away, but instead invite them to a volunteer opportunity or a fundraiser so they can get their hands dirty right away. But of course, this year is a little bit harder to do. So a lot of times, if they're attending a meeting where the clubs are still trying to figure out how to navigate COVID and trying to navigate what volunteer opportunities they can do, it was just a little bit tougher to get that retention. And of course, it's also important to mention that university clubs struggled quite a bit too, because a lot of them depend on that clubs day, that initial clubs day in person to get a lot of membership. So a lot of them struggled getting the same kind of traction online through a clubs day. And finally, and this is kind of a challenge that we face that talking to some of the club presidents, we kind of had to accept in a positive way, I would say as well, because of course, Rotaract often just came second to a lot of other people's like priorities this year. And this is because obviously this year has been difficult for many people, for many individuals and many families. So many people just decided to just take a step back from Rotaract because they had other priorities or 4, 5, 6, 7 other priorities that were just a bigger deal to them at that point than Rotaract. And to us, that was okay. To our club presidents, that's okay because we understand, we are in a very different circumstance than we were in 2019, of course. But with all this, the changing landscapes and stuff, I'm still very proud of our Rotaract clubs and our Rotaract districts. As Thomas kind of alluded to, with all the changes, our clubs still did work together to transition online quite seamlessly for the most part, adjusted to event ideas and shared online, fundraising and volunteer opportunities as well with one another. So that ideas can be shared. And not only did we kind of look outward this year, I think there was also more of a focus to look inward within our club to support one another and kind of keep that engagement up through virtual fundraisers, trivia nights, game nights, movie nights, and a lot of clubs also and club leaders kind of touched on just checking up on members. That it was just a little bit, it's a weird situation where you just, sometimes you just need to check on members every month or so just to see how they're doing. So of course it's been a challenging year, but Rotaract, we keep resilient and behind the strong leadership from Thomas, of course, and Sarah, but also the club presidents as well. So I'll pass it on to Sarah now.
Perfect. Thanks, Josh. All right. So to wrap things up, I'm just going to update you guys. Rotaract 5040 recently joined Rotaract Canada and the MDIO that it is, which means a multi-district information organization. So this is where all the Rotaractors can come and exchange ideas and not feel like they have to do everything alone. I know that they've been a big help to me as I navigate this role of DRR. So yeah, just super thankful for them. We joined at the end of August 2020, And out of the 20 Rotaract districts in Canada, 12 of them have joined this organization. So it's really exciting to see that so many of us have reached out and are willing to help each other. I'll give you the website at the end if you want to go look it up. We recently updated our own Rotaract website. It is no longer being hacked by pharmacy pills. So you can actually see what we're doing or what we have done in the past. And in this last year, the UBC Club, while navigating the challenges of COVID, they have been one of the most active clubs in the district and as well in advocating for Rotaract only training. In the past, I know that our presidents have been advocated to go to PETS or Big West, but the UBC Club worked with Rotaract Canada and led their own Rotaract conference mid-March, which was a huge success. So very happy for that. And that's kind of all I had to update you guys about. So in the chat here, I will, oh yes, thank you, Janice. She is telling me to talk about PACE, which is the Pacific Canadian Experience. So an exchange for Rotaractors that our district usually hosts at the end of August and into the early start of September. But unfortunately, due to COVID, it is not happening this year. So hopefully next year we can have our delayed 10th anniversary.
Thank you, Sarah, Thomas, and Josh. And I know that Ariel had to leave, so that was really good. So thank you. I just want to leave a couple of things with you. So understand that this district has put Rotaractors on our district committees for that continuity piece and to learn a lot from them and vice versa. I know that Thomas has been on the learning development team. I know that Danison and Jocelyn are on the membership committee. In fact, Danison and Jocelyn are co-chairs on our membership committee. So we got young people who are driving this district forward. And it's really, really cool to see that they got their roots out of Rotaract and that they're now elevating themselves up into the district and doing remarkably work for us. They have a lot of energy. They got a lot of creative ideas. This whole mentor thing came out of this group. And I got to say, just wow. So raving fans, thank you so much for everything that you guys do on our behalf. Second thought is that now the Rotaractors, they actually can now raise funds and access district grants starting 2022, right, Ian? Something like that. So what we're asking the clubs to do, the clubs that are sponsoring Rotaract clubs, is involve them in some of your district grants and global grant applications so they learn how to apply for these grants. It's really important. We understand the circle of life and the foundation is a really critical component of that. Rotaractors are ready to go there. And so they do a lot of fundraising to give little bits at a time. They do literally every week they have something going on. It's remarkably. And so I really do think that we need to be more engaging that way. And so don't lose sight of them and bring them into your club meetings, bring them to your area meetings, whatever you need to do, understanding they don't want any more Zoom meetings, but include them in your socials and that type of stuff. So that's really, really important. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is totally youth exchange spaces. But if you have any kids that are very active in sports, send them on a youth exchange program. You will save money. Trust me, I know that because Christopher was involved in golf and curling. When he came back from his Malaysia trip, I saved $10,000. I asked him where he wanted to go next. So think about that. And the last thing I'm going to just leave you with is youth. And is extremely important to our district. We might be in a hiatus, but we need to ramp up. We need to get that excitement, get those host families ready to go, get that training sessions up. If we can't do that, then we'll do something else because they're an important part of exercise and Rotaract. These are the two fastest growing sectors in Rotary. So, and that's our future. So let's do it right. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I see that we're just slightly over what we had hoped to do, but an hour 15, I think we did damn good. So anybody have any more questions of Rotaract, anything on youth?
Matt has posted a question in the chat. He says, how do we get a copy of this seminar? One of our youth chair is working and could not attend, but can watch another time.
You betcha. So what's the answer to that question, Andrea? I don't know. We've been posting on the district website part, right? So
Yeah, I posted, people who asked for my slides last week, I just sent them to them directly, but we can definitely, Lindy, if you want to,
Yep.
you can post on the youth page, can't you?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Make them available, and I'll do the same with PI.
and
Yeah.
the session's recorded, so it'll be available as well, so you can watch it at a later date.
Oh, yes, and Tanya's mentioning, obviously, the conference has a youth component, and there's the youth conference, so I know Val Little is sending out information about it, and then I'll be sending out a big push about it on Monday night in my Monday usual communication.
I know, I just registered for the World Virtual Conference, and there's a youth component to that as well. And I mean, if a Rotarian has to pay $49 or $69, I can't remember, I think it's 69 for me because I have two sessions on top of that. I know the youth are cheaper. So you can't get a cheaper international convention. So please register. And if you're foundation based, don't forget May 12th, please get out there, register for that zone virtual conference as well on things, the 6 best foundation speakers you're ever going to hear. So okay, thanks, Ian. I knew, and Brian was here too, I think so. Good job, guys. Thank you so much. Looking forward to visiting you on my district governor visits. And if you're past president-elect, we'll see you May 15th.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night. Have a wonderful evening.
So great to see everybody.
You too, Darcy. Take care.
Bye.
Was this recorded, do you think?
Yeah.
Darcy?
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't get here for the 7 o'clock. So I'd love to see a recording of it.
Yeah, it's recorded. Yeah.
It is recorded. So will that come out in an email?
Be in the district governor's, it'll be on the district website, I think under learnings or.
It'll be under youth, Sheila, and we'll endeavor to get the recordings out to everybody. I know others have been asking about the other year ahead session, so we'll endeavor to get that out, them all out to everybody who attended.
Okay, so I'll look on the website then.
Sure.
Yeah, look on the website. Linda will probably have them posted faster than on the youth page site, then we'll get them out to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You had a good meeting?
Yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Sheila.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.